What is good, ladies and gents? Hope you're all doing well and having a lovely time in the sunshine. So try the camera out a little bit differently this time and let it go on free flow. See how it works out, how much sabotage we get. I don't know why it is, but I was limping before, but every time I watch the film back, it looks like I'm limping. It might be how I'm swinging my shoulders or something, not sure. But anyway, hope everything is doing alright for you guys out there. And I've been watching everyone's growth, but yeah, guys, you need to check that your videos are not being age restricted, or if they are being age restricted, ask yourself why. And also, I've got a strike on my mine. So was that a surprise to anyone? I doubt it. There's a runner coming, so back in a bit. I'll tell you, I have walked down here for the last couple of days and not seen a single person. Not one person. Let's say how many people we meet on this one. Because I have this interesting theory. I know it's can't possibly be true, but it feels like it. And it goes every time I jump in the car, it's like a message goes around. Oh, he's out on the road. Right, everyone block the fucking shit out of the road. He's come out down here. He's filming now. Right, come run down. Come bike past. Come ride your horses. Everyone, get ready. So I come out later to do these films down here than I would normally. And do you know what? No deers. None at all. Anyway, we'll see what interesting things we can find along the way. Yeah. Well, the garden has exploded. The potatoes are like fucking taking over everything. Those things grow to about 1.5 meters tall, maybe a little bit less than that. But they grow up so high that they basically just collapse on themselves and fall over. So I have to tie them all up. But I've made a mistake with the potatoes again. I tried them last year. I should have learnt from last year, but didn't. And I've basically planted the potatoes kind of about 3/4 of the way up in the bag. Now the problem is that with potatoes you're meant to mound dirt up because potatoes grow out of the sides of the stems. So that mound should be like 1.5 meters mound to maximise the yield of potatoes, because they don't just the roots don't grow down and then produce loads of potatoes. Stem is where little root shoots come out and the tube is formed from there. So they're very prevalent. I got those seed potatoes from Sutton Seeds. It took a long time for them to arrive, but it's not a surprise with everything that's been going on. Trying to destroy the crops, destroying the crops. As you can see, that's a very empty field, not growing a lot of anything but thistles and sharp shit. And the government had this really great initiative to say, oh well, most farmers, they're in their late 60s, so I want to give them like 50 grand to sell up. 50 grand, huh? For some of these farmers have tens of millions of pounds worth of land. They're going to sell that for 50 grand. And their idea is that they want to hand these farms over to the next generation of farmers. So those next generation of farmers that they want to hand them to, yeah, they're not the people of the land. And that's the fun and games carries on. So I got a whole heap of little tricks up their sleeve, because this is Satan's merry little dance. Merry, merrily, along the people go with the piper. Oh yeah. Stuff that I don't really like talking about, but in many ways it's getting to a time where those things is going to have to be said. And I think it's a bit of a sad day for me on Saturday. It was one of my favourite DJs, a guy called DJ Los Angeles Vibes. He's a Ghanaian dude. He lives somewhere in Europe. Decided that he wanted to promote a song by Emmanuel Nesbeth, however the hell he pronounces pretend stage name. And this man's a full on fucking Freemason. And I played some of his tracks on my thing, but you know, people change over time, don't they? But the Lord changes not. The Lord changes not. And anyway, Mr. Emmanuel, or whatever his real name is, decided that he likes the notion of the black Hebrew Israelites, and that he thinks that that's something that should be promoted through the reggae. Not peace, love and unity. Not one love. Not all man's blood is red. Not all man should be seen equally because they're all seen equally in the eyes of God. No, we're not going down that path. We're going down the path of the white man. White privilege. So I've said it many times before in these videos. It's like the people who drive red cars are getting angry at the people who drive the blue cars, who are pissed off at the people who are driving green cars, who really dislike the people who drive silver cars. You're in a fucking car. Guess what? You didn't get to select it. You had no choice over the matter whatsoever. And this joker decided to put this little clip show together and throw Haile Selassie in there. Boy, Haile Selassie would have dispatched some men to slap that man in the face. I can't even listen to the emperor. I don't even know what he said. No idea. Yeah, Ethiopia. It's an interesting place. Very interesting place. It's Ethiopia. And if you look at the Ethiopians and like the video that I showed, every nation paints Christ in their own national style, in their own national way. Do you know how many times it refers to what he looks like? 0. Do you know why? Because it's not important. It's immaterial. What he did is what's important. You know, sow the seeds of discord and reap those bountiful fruits. I hear they're tasty. Anyway, so it's like this. I'll give it to you like this. Okay. So the black Hebrew Israelites, they reckon they were the Egyptians. Okay. So keep that in your head. They also say that they are also of Moses. and that they're also the Hebrews. So they're the Egyptians and Moses and the Hebrews. So what this is like, it's like me saying to my people, let my people go. Pick a fucking lane. Which one are you? Are you the Egyptians or are you the Hebrews? Because you can't be both. Because otherwise it makes no fucking sense. The Egyptians told the Hebrews, who were also the Egyptians, to let my people go. Okay? You're going to have to do some mental gymnastics to wrap your fucking head around that one. Well, these guys are sweet. They're very sweet. They proclaim that the filthy albinoid white man came along and painted over all of the images to disguise the fact that everyone, and they're fucking everyone. Like, I'll crack on with some of this in a bit, but this shit pissed me off because DJ Lass is someone who I've been listening to for a long time, and he just basically went and shat on about 90% of his fan base by promoting that dude and his song. It's fucking race baiting song. Yeah. So they believe that they built the Sistine Chapel, and Leonardo da Vinci, who was also a black man, by the way, because all the Renaissance was also all black people. And bearing in mind I'm having to use the Freemasonic terms of black and white because they're Freemasons. This shit here, this is not fucking white. That there is not fucking white. Nothing that I'm wearing is white. And like I said before, there is a very few number of people in the world who actually are black as coal and white as snow. 99% of everyone is a tonal base across the range because we all come from Adam and Eve. So anyway, across the Sistine Chapel, they painted all over it. Now the question is, for such a mighty group of people, would there not have been some history record somewhere to say this mighty nation was chucked out by another nation who was clearly more mighty to be able to throw them out? The actual fuck. Okay. These guys, not only that, they also believe that they're also the Japanese. Because there's a Japanese proverb that says, a samurai to be a true warrior has to have some black blood. Therefore, that the Japanese and all of their history was written over by the evil albinoid, who was also the Chinese. That's why, they've been attacking them over in the States. But when Satan plays his merry little tune, we best be sure there'll be people who are going to dance to it. So yeah, anyway, the entirety of Japanese culture, that was also stolen and painted over by the Japanese. And also, this is probably one of my favourites, probably one of my absolute fucking favourites. So, William Shakespeare, he was a black man. Okay. And he wrote all of these things, but they painted over his face to make him white. Okay. Whilst at the same time, they say he was illiterate and couldn't even write his own name, and jacked all of his writing from a black lady. And she couldn't be promoted because of her skin colour. Pick a fucking lane. Which one is it? Is he black? Is he white? Which one? So you're saying to me, on one hand, this woman who wrote all this great literature that he stole from couldn't possibly have been promoted because of the colour of her skin, whilst at exactly the identical time saying that He was the same skin colour as her and rose to complete fame, and they painted over his face. The actual fuck. But, you know, Satan, he is the deceiver. He likes to play these games. And you best believe that we'll be getting a strike for this one, because we'll be disappearing off YouTube fairly soon, I would imagine, because you know, you can't tolerate someone who promotes Christ. It can't be done. The world hates him. And as soon as you start following him, they will hate you too. Now I say, peace, love and unity. I say, we all come from Adam and Eve. I say, don't hate your brother without a cause. I say, do unto others that you'd have done to you. And this doesn't mean, if I was being a prick, I would expect to be treated like a prick. Okay, if I'm acting well, I expect to be treated well. Do unto others as you would expect to be done to you. Christ is the unifier. He said he came to bring a sword of division. But you have to understand what he is saying, because my sheep will hear him. My sheep will hear me, and they'll follow me, and they'll do my will. And what he's talking about is a parable of the seeds by the wayside. Some will land on fertile ground, grow roots, and be mighty trees. And others will land on the rocks, grow no roots, and shrivel away to nothing. And some, well, they'll get cast into the weeds, and they'll grow up, but the weeds, will strangle them. And that's what he was talking about. If you don't love me, and willing to give up everything for me, then you're not worthy of me. If you're not willing to die for me, then you're not worthy of me. If you can't do the same thing that was done to me on that cross, and do it with gladness and joy in your heart, you are not worthy of me. Yeah, seeds of division, seeds of breaking down everything. And it would appear that the reggae is going to be a pretty vital tool in spreading the message of hatred of, brother, pick up that stone and smash your brother's head in. So selecting music might become a little bit more interesting. Selecting interesting music. I mean, I can play their music just for the sake of like rubbing that shit in. I don't think anyone would appreciate it. I don't think anyone would find any joy in it. And it'd be sadness and misery. I mean, maybe DJ Les, what he'll do is when he plays his next gig, he'll kick all the quote-unquote whites out. I mean, there'll be plenty of room to swing a cat. It'll be pretty fucking lonely in there, but, you know, it's just funny. I think how much money is generated from tourism across Africa, across the Caribbean. So much money. You think those people over there hate us? You think people here hate them? What fucking chance? But Satan wants to play his merry pipe and wants people to dance along with him, and some are stupid enough to do that. It's just sad. I miss them. It's like big old deer gallivanting about up there, galloping across the field. I'm trying not to get spiked by this shit. You see that? That is getting me in the leg. It's like needles. Sharp and spiny leaves. Oh yes. Yeah, well. So we unsubscribed from him. And yeah, sadness really, but it's just the funniness on the comments. It's like, you fucking hate us so much. You hate us so much for the colour of our skin. You think that we're responsible for everything. We're responsible for all of the world's problems because, yeah, every man is responsible for the actions of every other man, apparently. Is all of Zimbabwe responsible for Robert Mugabe? Is every Zimbabwean a Robert Mugabe? So that's the logic that they're trying to use. I mean, fucking hell, man. Get off me, fucking bramble. Oh well. And I play reggae music on my tracks because I really love reggae music. It's just something that I've enjoyed since I was a little kid. I'd like albums of King Tubby from when I was about, 13. The Huru Roots. Burning Spear, but Burning Spear had some stuff in there which was a bit like Kill All the White Man. Just wow. I mean, it's an interesting concept. I'd like to know how we're going to achieve it. I mean, the Danes, they tried it here. They tried to wipe the Saxon out, take over the land. And there's a funny thing about the European or the Caucasian. It's like you'll see that a lot of other of the two brothers, so the Negroid and the Mongoloid and the Caucasian, there's like this shouting. It's like rah 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 rah, like instantly rah rah rah. But with us it's like okay, fucking nuclear war, apocalypse, nothing stops until everything is dead. And that's it's almost like that's what they're trying to achieve in this. It's like, if we keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, eventually they'll snap, because they know that when that snap happens, there's nothing that stops it. It's like a wildfire. It carries on until it burns itself out, and anything that's caught in its path will be toast. Just look through history and you'll see. But just remember also at the same time, all of those people, they're all Hebrew Israelites as well. What was really amusing is that they also think that they're the Aztecs and the Mayans, and the Native Americans got really upset with them, which is why the Native Americans then went and painted pictures over the top of them to hide the fact that that's who they are. These motherfuckers are crazy. Motherfuckers are like some next level shit. And it's sad, because it's like, it goes like this. I don't see someone of any other race or creed out here, and I just automatically like them because of their race or creed. Even people of my own race. This is what he's saying about kingdom rising against kingdom and nation rising against nation. There's nothing that I can do or say that's going to stop it. It's going to happen. This is going to happen, and it's going to go. And nation will rise against nation, and kingdom will rise against kingdom, and that's just what's going to happen. So, I'm not speaking against it, because I'm not going to speak against what Christ said is going to happen, because that would be a pointless and a wasted time. So I know it's going to happen, but I guess the point of it is to to grab those who are out there and pull them away from the fire, that they might not be burnt up in it. It's like, don't eat that, it's poison. Don't go there, you'll die. Don't do that. And then if they listen, they'll listen. If they won't, they won't. It's like I was watching this video of these people going around to the vaccination centres and telling all these people about all what's on the yellow cards and what's on the VERS system, telling them about the fact that it's not got medical licence, and reporting the exact things that the government says to them. And they won't listen. They're basically like, fuck off. Like, literally fuck off. So it's like, you're marching yourself into a slaughterhouse, and these people are trying to say to you, don't do it, because we care about you. Like, we care about you, so we don't want you to go in there and fucking die. So please don't. But they're like, fuck you. Fuck you. You and your care for me. What do I care about you? Well, at the same time saying, I care about you, that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to protect you. I mean, like, you know, my seatbelt only works if everyone else wears their seatbelt, apparently. So you can't tell these people. It's like, oh man, it's just sad, is what it is. It just makes me really fucking sad. It just makes me sad. It's like, I have those swords and I have these things, and I tell you, there's no fucking joy. Zero joy in them. There's people out there who would find a lot of joy, and I tell you, there's plenty of people out there who have been preparing to go and mess some shit up, and they're finding a lot of joy in it, thinking like, oh, do you know what? There's no joy in it, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it. And I'll find myself in a position where I cry myself to sleep every night. But that's just the way it is. It's just what's coming. Anyway, I don't have a stand with me today, so I'm going to stop it here, roll a cigarette, and then I'll be back in a sec. So, in a bit. Yes. So yeah, I was talking about the Danes. I get sidetracked and I go off into a million fucking directions. I don't have a script with me or anything like that to work off. I'm just speaking my mind, I guess. So yeah, anyway, the Danes, they basically took quite considerable control of this country. So you'll see things like Danesbury, and words which are Danish words. Anyway, there's even kings from the Danes who ruled over the country, but they never took England. No, that was the Normans that did that. That was William the Conqueror, Might of the Vatican. I don't know what it was that we did that caused it, but obviously we did something, and there was a punishment that was required. So anyway, the Danes, they took control, and they pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed until that fire that I was talking about, that fire leapt up, and on one night, across the entire of the country, across the entire of England, men, women and children of Saxon went out with knives and swords, and they went into the houses of all the Danes, and they murdered them all in their sleep. And the terror that it sent through to the Danes was so severe that they fucking ran away. And then they came back. And that's your Battle of 1066. The Saxons had just defeated the Danes for the final time. Scourge had been wiped off the shores. There were still settlers here and stuff like that, but, you know, they were still hated, but they were still welcome because they weren't warring and they weren't fighting and they were living peacefully. And most of them had had realised that they were worshipping the fallen angels rather than worshipping the Creator. then the Normans came. And since that day, England has been occupied by Normans. But we come from Syria. That's where we originally come from. Because 10 tribes were lost and 2 tribes remained. Even though they are now lost from 70 AD. They were captured and they were taken into Syria as slaves. And they eventually escaped and wandered their way. That's where wheat comes from. Its originating source is Syria. It's very interesting. I've met Syrians who, if you put a yellow coat and a yellow hat on their head and you put them down on the docks, you would think they're an Englishman. I was like, "You're English?" I'm like, "No, I'm not, I'm Syrian." It's funny how these things are. It's funny, these things. Anyway, I feel that it probably was something to do with the Saxons, like what happens with people, quote unquote, is, bearing in mind that it's meaningless. It's literally meaningless now. Is that through them you will see the manifestation of what it is to praise God and to be hated by God. So you'll see through them the positives and negatives. Judaism has absolutely fucking nothing to do with this. Do you see that? That sky? That's above all of us. And those clouds, they form over all of us. And the rain, that falls on all of us. And guess what the sun does? And guess what the stars do? It's not a God of one group of individuals. It is the creator of all things, of everything. Like I said, he wrapped himself in flesh because our bodies are merely a vehicle. He got in a vehicle, and that vehicle was given the name Yeshua or Joshua, but who we now call Jesus Christ, the man from Nazareth. He is not the saviour of only one group of people. He is the saviour of Adam and Eve and their descendants. And since that's where we all come from, you can see it gets a bit tiresome when I hear people talking about race and colour like it means something. God does not care one bit about your flesh. He can make flesh out of the dirt at will. He can turn a rock into a living human person. He can make you drop down dead right now. But he chose to wake you up today, even though he didn't have to. And remember, this is not a he nor a she. He just refers to himself as a he to give the masculine fear of the fear of a father and a whip and a beating. Whereas a mother generally is a softer, kinder, more caring. I know some of it might seem harsh. I know some of it might not make sense, but I'm telling you it's important. Growing this plant is the first step in the right direction. It will help you. He made it for a reason. It grows so quickly, it can show you life. It can show you everything. Within one season, you can see from casting those seeds out how many of those seeds grew to be a bountiful, beautiful plant worth reaping, full of life and its power. And how many of them grew disabled? And how many of them died when they were just a mere seedling? It'll show you everything. If you just have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. It's a very important plant. It is the healing of the nations. It's the healing of the earth. And it's very much needed. And that's why it's so fought against. And I started growing it because I realised, not that I wanted to get high or stoned, because I'm not a joker smoker. I'm a real ganja farmer. I farm this, and Jehovah is my shield and my guide. So I can sing along with that song. I'm planting some plants around the corner. You better know that Jehovah is my shield and my guide. My strength when I am weak, my tall tower, my sword, and the fight for the battle. And we will give it up for no man, because this is worth more than anything here. It's worth more than gold and diamonds and praise. It's worth infinite. But my absolute favourite of the Hebrew Israelites is that God hates Esau. I tell you this much. This is the power of the Word of God. And this is the reason why the various translations and why the King James, not saying that it's better than anyone else or any of the other translations or King James only, is because you can use various aspects. You can take a verse here and a verse there, and you can convince a man that it's okay to have 20 wives. You can convince a man it's okay to have slaves. You can convince a man that it's okay to murder his brother. And that person will believe it because they were told it by someone who they trust, who they believe has read it. Oh, anyone who was trying to twist the word and use verse and paraphrase and this little bit here, a little bit there, to convince anyone of anything is a fool to believe, because you need to read all of it, because then it will make sense, entire sense, utter sense, and you'll see how deceptive those people are. And what is very interesting about it is that what the Vatican had done is they had translated the scriptures into Latin, and everyone didn't speak Latin. They didn't speak Latin. So the only people who were allowed to really learn Latin were the people who were taking a little verse here and a little verse there and telling it to the people to bend their will. Which is why you get this whole thing of, people were... They use this to control people's minds. Well, yes, because unless you read all of it, you will get twisted up. Easily get twisted up. Far too easily will get twisted up. And King James was against the Vatican. Very much so. These are the Freemasons. It's a lot of the richest, most powerful and richest of all of them. It's the Vatican. They have all of the money and all of the powers. And in doing this, he went to Rome, basically seized control of the scripture and had his translators translated into the King's English, then had it copied and distributed out to the people and mandated that people need to learn to read, so this shit can't happen again. That's why. But don't trust the king. It's like the twisting of many things. So, if I said to you about the Knights Templar, you'd probably go, oh, they're fucking Freemasons. They're just a faction of the Freemasons. No, they weren't. they weren't. They really fucking weren't. They don't exist anymore. The Knights Templar disappeared when they were brutally cut down by the King of France's soldiers. The Knights Templar had one purpose: to protect pilgrims from across Europe as they walked into the Holy Land on pilgrimage. They were given money by the people, and these people, the knights, built Templar houses. And these Templar houses were where pilgrims would come and rest, knowing that they were under the protection of the Templars, so people couldn't come and rob and jack them. And the Templars built many a house along the route, and they were given old abandoned castles to fortify, and they fortified them. And because people were so protected by them along the path, they amassed quite a considerable amount of money. And the King of France at that time borrowed a considerable amount of money from the Templars. And when he did this, he then said, I'm not fucking paying them back. I'm going to pay them shit. And went on what is ultimately a propaganda hit and said that they were Masons. No, even he was the Mason. That they were some form of a cult. That they were thieves and robbers. And the outrage that ensued was so monumental that he nearly lost control. So what he did is he got the Lord Commander and burnt him at a stake and said, anyone who defies me and what I say the Templars are, that's what they'll get. And people went, ooh, I don't want to get burnt at the fucking stake. And then Jerusalem got lost to Islam. That's how a little dome got built up on there. But anyway, they were also Hebrew Israelites, so I remember, because Hebrew Israelites are everyone. It's just everyone's stolen their history from all across Asia, because the Hebrew Israelites were also Genghis Khan. They were the Hebrew Israelites and the Syrians, and the Aztecs and the Mayans. They were also the Native Americans. They were the samurai. They were the knights. They were creators of all things, and it's just that everyone stole it from them and painted over the top of it. My question is, if you were so mighty, then why were people able to overthrow you? No? You were the Egyptians and the Hebrews at exactly the same time. So you got crushed by God, as well as rescued by God, at identically the same time. Makes perfect sense. I'm sold. Let me be your slave. Let me be your slave. And I'm sorry if I have upset anyone on today's little video. And, it just it upset me somewhat to see someone that I held in some high regard for promoting the reggae music. And bearing in mind he's a Ghanaian, he's not Jamaican, he's Ghanaian. Because a lot of the singers, they're not Jamaican. There's a lot of singers from all over the world that have been unified through the reggae. And now some cocky little American kid wants to come and sing some songs to say the white man set me free, so how can I ever truly be free? Well, you were free to make that song. You were free to walk into a studio. You were free to have your publishing company publish it. You were free to reap the money from publishing that song. You were free to leave the studio, to go back to your home, and continue to be free to sow the seeds of discord. So, what were you prevented from doing in any aspect of of what you did, Mr. Emmanuel Enesba, whatever the fuck your name is. You can tell God when you die about how much he hates the white man and how much he loves the black man, because he's concerned with what's inside man, not the outside of man, because we are merely in a vehicle going about our journey. It's like, I mean, I'm sure that they'll say that they wrote this song too, because fucking they wrote everything, all history just erased them from it, and they have to come and tell everyone about how all history of the world was stolen from them somehow. The song "Row, Row, Row Your Boat" is a song that many people have been sung or know. Row, row, row your boat merrily down the stream. Life is but a dream. I'm sure you're well aware of it. You are the boat, the stream is life, and it's all but a dream. So row your boat merrily, 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 because your life is short. Hate no other one. Treat other people as you would want to be treated yourself, and you'll be starting to walk down that narrow path. We sing that song to our children, that maybe they might understand it, but I think over time the power of that song has been lost. And there's many nursery rhymes that are like it, but it's probably the easiest one to explain, I guess. But anyway, I don't mean to offend anyone, so if I have, my sincerest apologies. Until next time, this is UK Field Ninja. See you all later.